What's up, guys? So like I said, I am gonna try to make picks for all the pay-per-view events, and last one I made was UFC 268, and here we go with UFC 269. Last event was pretty good. I picked Aldo to win by decision. He won by decision. I didn't make a video of it. I'm just saying, you don't have to believe me. When I leave the links to my Instagram and my topology at the description of this video, you can see it for yourself. And like I always say, I won't do the entire card, but on my Instagram I do post the entire card if anyone's interested in who I'm picking. But anyways, UFC 269, Oliveira versus Poirier. What an amazing fight. I've been really looking forward for this one. And so this is one of those fights that, you know, they're rare where, so normally on every fight I always see a path of victory for one fighter and a path of victory for the other fighter. But every now and then you come across a fight like this one where I can see Oliveira winning this one by submission, by decision, or even by TKO. If you watch his last fight against Chandler, clearly he has power when he, when he hits people. And I can see Poirier winning the same way. I can see Poirier winning obviously by KO or TKO, obviously by decision, and I can also see Poirier winning by submission. Let's not forget that Oliveira has lost many times by submission. I know it's been a while, but it's not like he has not been. He's shown in the past that if he, the heart of Oliveira is something that it seems that he's gone over it, but in the past he's shown that when there's adversity he kind of gives up. So, but again, it's been years, so it's hard to say. But I am picking Charles Oliveira to win this one, so I'm picking the upset here. I just think Oliveira has really finally, after, when he first came to the UFC, I think he was 20. He was, I think, the youngest fighter. I think now Oliveira has actually evolved into his full capacity. I think he's in his prime, and I think he has become a complete mixed martial artist, very well rounded. See, Oliveira can go out there and strike with Poirier, and at any given time, shoot for a takedown. It's not a fight where Poirier has to go there and expect the takedown or be prepared for the takedown. Poirier should be prepared for everything, the takedown and the striking. See, Oliveira could go there, just trade punches. I think he'll hold his own, and at any given time, just pick him up and take him down, kind of like he did to Tony. Poirier, of course, has the the striking and the power to knock anyone out, and the striking skill, not just power to beat you up. I don't think we will see Poirier try to take Oliveira down. Normally, the few times Oliveira has been submitted has been either he got hit and got dropped and then got beat up, then submitted. But to actually pursue a takedown on Oliveira, I don't see Poirier doing that. While I do see Poirier being able to win this one anyway, I do think that his keeping the fight standing is in his best interest, of course, because that's where he shines. Again, he's a really good striker. He could very well land on Oliveira and knock him out. And even though, most people would say that the biggest way Oliveira wins this one by submission, this is where I'm struggling. I'm struggling to pick how I'm picking Oliveira. Obviously, it could very well be submission. But it could also be a TKO. But you know what? I am gonna go by submission. After I picked him TKO, and but I am gonna go by submission. I think he's gonna drop him, and then once Poirier's hurt and on the ground, Oliveira's gonna go down there and submit him. I'm not super confident on this one. I'm like 60-40 Oliveira. So obviously, not a super confident pick, but I am picking Oliveira by submission. I'm gonna go submission round 2, Oliveira. And then Amanda Nunez versus 1 second. My phone is leaning against who is she fighting? Oh, Juliana Pena. I don't need to break this one down. Amanda Nunes, what is she, minus 800, and Pena's plus 550. As a matter of fact, my advice would be this one: put $25 on Pena and just cross your fingers, hope that she wins. Walk away with $150, something like that. Minus 800. There's no point of putting a bet on her. I don't believe you'll find anyone. If anyone picks Pena to win, they're just taking a risk. And they're trying to gamble and say, oh, I picked Pena to win, whatever, but no reason to break this one down. I have Amanda Nunes KO TKO round 1. And then Jeff Neal versus Santiago Ponzinibbio. The odds keep changing on this one. They're very close. As of right now, it looks like a pick 'em. At moments, I saw Ponzinibbio the underdog, but Neal the underdog. But it looks dead even right now, at least on this website. And Topology shows minus 110 for both of them, so even. I am picking Jeff Neal to win by TKO. Oh, and just real quick, back to the Poirier. Just the last, I always talk about this. So Poirier's last 2 fights are Conor McGregor. Last fight, he won by TKO via doctor stoppage. The only reason that was a doctor stoppage was because it was 5 seconds before it ended. Anderson Silva versus Weidman is called a TKO. Uriah Hall versus Chris Weidman, it's a TKO via injury. Had that injury happened 10 seconds earlier, it would have been TKO injury. I see a lot of people saying that Conor was winning that round. I've seen that fight 3 times, and I'm like, anyone who thinks Conor was winning that round is like, you're a Conor fanboy. That's what it is. Conor was winning the first minute, maybe minute and a half. I would agree. But then Dustin cracked him. Conor goes against the cage. Dustin takes him down. And even though Conor had a few nice elbows from the bottom, the last several minutes was Poirier on top of Conor, beating his face with punches, elbows. Then he stands up. And then the round ended with Conor on the floor getting beat by Poirier. And then Charles Oliveira is coming from knocking out Michael Chandler round 2. You know what? He showed hard on this one. Now that I think about it, he overcame. Cause I thought Chandler was about to knock him out, but he came back and he finished him 10 seconds into round 2. But yeah, maybe the hard thing is, I forgot about that. I always talk about the guy's last fights. But anyways, so Neal is coming from losing to Neil Magny. Jeff Neal is coming from losing to Neil Magny. He lost by decision. A fight where I wouldn't be fair to say he got totally, out-grappled. It was a combination. It was a good fight by by Neil Magny. He combined clinch, takedowns, and did a very smart fight. But every time Neal came forward, you could tell Magny, would back up and would eat shots. I'm picking Jeff Neal to win by knockout round 1. Ponzinibbio, he's coming from pulling a decision win over Miguel Baeza. Round 1, he was getting beat up pretty bad, and then he came back. But see, I don't see Santiago Ponzinibbio going out there and try to grapple with Jeff Neal or try to clinch him. I see Ponzinibbio going out there to stand up and trade with Jeff Neal. And I think that's going to be his downfall. I think Neal is a faster striker. I know he has one punch knockout power. And Ponzinibbio is not exactly an unhittable guy, especially if you look at his last, 2 fights. Well, got knocked out by Jin Lee. And then on the one with Baeza, he ate a lot of shots. I mean, Ponzinibbio's face was busted up by the end of that fight. It only takes a couple from Neal and it's over. So Jeff Neal by knockout round 1. Also not super confident on this one. I'm like 70-30 on Jeff Neal. Kai Kara France with A lot of these fights I'm not too confident. Garbrandt is coming from knocking out Rogerio Bontorin in a fight where he was losing for the first. He was getting totally out grappled for the first 4 minutes and 30 seconds of that round, and then he gets up, starts to swing, and he knocks Bontorin out round one. Garbrandt is coming from a lot of losses, like to Munoz, 2 times to Dillashaw, and then to Rob Font, his last fight. Before that, he knocked out Rafael Assunção. He's dropping to the flyweight division. So Garbrandt is going to have the height, and his reach is about the same. This one is tough, man, because first of all, it's hard to say. We don't know what Garbrandt is going to look at 125, right? Jose Aldo has shown amazing from dropping to featherweight to bantamweight, but there's people that have shown the opposite when they drop the weight. We don't know because we haven't seen it yet. We don't know how Garbrandt is gonna look. Based on what I have seen him say on social media and interviews, it sounds like he feels better. He's doing amazing. So I'm gonna go with the idea that we're gonna see a better Garbrandt than bantamweight, and that's a pretty big thing. So I'm picking Garbrandt by decision. Normally the guy's a finisher, but I think decision. I think Garbrandt is good enough for the striker to not get caught with anything too crazy. With that being said, if it's the total opposite and Garbrandt's chin is even worse because of all the weight cut and whatnot, and gets knocked out pretty quick, it won't be a shocker. So Garbrandt by decision. O'Malley versus Rodan Paiva. O'Malley knockout round one. O'Malley's coming from fighting Moutinho in a fight where he was absolutely using the guy as a punching bag, and then should have went to decision, but Herdin screwed up like he always does, and called it a TKO round 3. Relian Paiva in his last fight. I mean, he looks slower. O'Malley is so much faster than Paiva. Paiva in his last fight showed that he's slow. He gets hit a lot. He keeps his hands down and eats shots after shots. That's a recipe for disaster when you're fighting O'Malley. So O'Malley knockout round 1. I'm running out of time here. Josh Emmett by Dan Ige. I'm not picking another underdog here. I'm picking Ige by decision. I think he fights smart, and doesn't do anything reckless. He can outstrike Emmett and just pull a decision. Obviously, Emmett has one punch knockout power, and at any time he can land that punch. But other than that, I think the technicality and the movement, I think Ige is better. So Ige by decision. Monster puncher's chance for Emmett, of course. That's what the guy does, but coming from 36 years old, year and a half layoff, he's a little bit smaller. Ige, going toe-to-toe with Edson Barboza, Kelvin Cater, and not getting finished by those guys. Actually beating, I thought he lost to Barboza, but still it shows how good of a striker he is. Picking Ige by decision, as an upset. And then the last one is Augusto Sakai versus Tai Tuivasa. Another one that is hard to pick. I am picking Tuivasa to win by knockout round 1 because Augusto Sakai likes to. Both of them are. Sakai's coming from getting knocked out by Rosenstruck when there was 1 second left. Tuivasa's coming from winning 3 first round knockouts. The last one against Dan Hardy. I think the downfall for Sakai will be is that he likes to stand up and trade, and that's what Tuivasa loves to do. Even when he fought Junior Dos Santos, who's a really amazing striker and a better striker than Sakai, in my opinion, Tuivasa was doing actually pretty good. Not super confident on this one because of what Sakai showed that he could do against Overeem, but I think when you stand up and trade with Tuivasa and Sakai not being the fastest dude out there, I think eventually he'll get caught and get knocked out. So Tuivasa by knockout. So Oliveira submission round 2. Amanda Nunez KO TKO round 1. Jeff Neal KO TKO round 1. Garbrandt by decision. O'Malley TKO round 1. Ige by decision. And Tuivasa TKO round 1. And like I said, on Instagram, on my Instagram, which I'll put on the link, I'll put the entire card. All right, guys, have a good one.